and as you collect the coins disappear, and your point, like right now it's 87 for me, it will become 88. Tuck. You see,
Ah,
88.
okay.
The
So
sound effect was from my mouth. Okay, yeah.
that's using
89.
behavior graphs?
Yes, yes. Using behavior graph.
Okay,
90,
great.
91. Yeah. And if I refresh the page, uh, so 90 coins still in place. And as I walk in 91, because it's using local storage, that
Ah,
is.
okay.
Yeah. So it's just one of the features, and then as we go inside, we can like some other customizations. Like as I enter here,
Have you done anything to prevent tampering from the local storage?
no, not right now because anyways we were not allowed to store any user info. So I'm just storing the user coins, and that is also very superficial. Like it's not gonna be used anywhere. Else I would have used index DB or
Well,
I don't know.
what platform is this on?
Yeah, I think it'll be a while before any of the
It's
behavior graph stuff is, I don't know, tamper resistant.
But behavior graph is the tool used, or is
this is hubs.
oh, it's hubs.
Hubs. Yeah, behavior graph is just one of the feature of many features.
Ah,
Oh,
So
you can like create
Hey,
custom
what's up,
scripts
guys?
on Meta Hubs.
Now,
yes, yes, yes.
is this implemented in the BTCS client or the A-frame client?
Bit ACS.
Okay.
Yeah, because hubs this behavior graph supports in bit ACS only as of
Hmm.
now. So uh, yeah, chess we can play later, but yeah, just wanted to show you. So like this is WebSockets. Like it's just a simple iframe which opens, and there is this weird thing like only in my PC you can see like as I move in, the avatar rotates, and
Hmm.
it's with respect to where see like here if I move forward backward nothing happens. Like if I move here, so there it will rotate for a bit and then get to its initial position.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Looks
what
pretty
As
is
I
janky,
that?
but it does work. Yeah.
Maybe like a weird like
yeah,
animation
but this is
transition
only
setup.
for me, so I'm not like I'm trying to fix it up once we have this thing completed. And yeah, it's only like if I keep pressing tick 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 tick, then it keeps on jamming. Else, like if I press and hold, it's all good.
Interesting.
pretty cool.
Yeah, this is still in progress. I will be sharing this in showcase once it's live and ready to show. We have built all the scenes in like 10-15 MB or maybe like under 10 MB because this has to be a single GLB file, right? So how we build is like we take one mesh and keep elevating like from one single mesh we build it. For things like this chair and stuff, then we take two of them and combine it in Blender, however it is. So yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad to see it's working so well.
Well
Oh,
done.
awesome. Crowd gathering. Hey, hi, Vajra.
Hey, Rithik, what you up to?
Just showcase this thing, the whole experience with behavior graphs built completely on behavior graphs and hubs.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so for other guys, you should know Imagineer is the founder of Hubs Foundation, president, right? The right word.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Matt was the community manager at Hubs. Cool.
Nicely done. I like it.
Thank you very much. I just learned from Matt, Imaginer, and all others in the community, just like this hubs we are in here, this meetup. So yeah,
Thank you.
let's go. Let's get inside. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah. You can move back out into the main stage area.
Yeah.
How do I?
Do you also struggle with the emoji?
Yeah, how do I put it down? I don't want to clap
I don't know.
anymore.
I don't
Are
know.
you still holding grip?
It's forcing me to clap for eternity. What?
Are you still holding the grip button on it? Or
No, I'm not holding it anymore, but it's still like attached to my hand
no.
somehow. Oh,
Good
now,
bug.
okay, now it's gone. Okay,
Okay.
good.
Yep, someone else had to grab it.
So, can you get rid of this heart, please, as well?
Yep.
Okay, great, thank
Get
you.
rid of the heart. Yep.
Yeah, we don't need love
Oh,
over
what
here.
just happened?
Yeah, get that love out of here.
Yeah, we need that.
Lots of shenanigans today.
I like it.
Shenanigans.
Let's see.
Oh, cool. Hey, Medusa.
Yeah, nice to see you, Medusa.
Hello. Haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, I've been doing some good work too. I've been following a couple of, catch some of your recent projects that you posted.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean the piano thing. Lately, I haven't updated anything yet, but I'm trying.
Oh. Controls to this.
Hey, good evening.
Why am I flying?
Hello.
Hello.
God. Help me.
Doing all
Okay,
right
I'm
there?
on the ground again.
There you go.
Oh no, I'm flying again. Damn it.
Did you not mean to toggle the flying mode?
No, how do I toggle it?
Click thumbstick. Right thumbstick, I think it is.
Ah, there we go. Thanks. Okay.
I remember it's like apparently it's a control that's existed for a long time in hubs, but I did not know that, and I did like a whole PR to add like a fly mode toggle button to the VR UI, and like fixing one of the old tools they use for sprite cheating in the process, and then it never got merged.
Well, it feels good to be safe on the ground again with both of my invisible legs. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, potentially in the future it'll get merged. I don't know. We'll have to see how far the code base has diverged, but
Yeah,
I
no,
do
I know
remember you
gotta.
talking about it, and it's
So
on,
how do I use the
on
pen?
the to-do list.
I think you just grab the pen with grip and then draw with trigger.
Not letting me
Or-
grab.
Oh,
The pen being weird.
My bad. I just grabbed the pen accidentally. I was trying to be helpful, and then I just took control and I lost it. Yeah.
Stop the thief.
Oh, there's one.
I missed the last two, I think, of these meetings, but it looks to me like there are a lot of new people. Is that, or is everyone has been here before, or is it just me that I don't recognize
I
quite a
see
few
some
names?
new names.
For me, it's
I'm
definitely
here
my first
already.
time. That's why I'm
I'm new-
struggling
I'm
with
new
the
here.
controls.
It makes old and new.
Perhaps a short introduction round?
Yeah, I was just about to say if Rob or Adam, one of you wants to go first.
Yeah, Robert, you can go first.
Oh, okay. I guess hi. I'm Rob. I'm playing around a lot with AR and VR these days, and especially interested in WebXR. I guess my ultimate dream would be to create like more of an open immersive web, so to say, so you could like jump between like virtual experiences. So I hope to try and create something like that someday. But in the meantime, I also have like AR things going on and also getting inspired every day by things like this. So it's just like a really exciting space to be in right now. And with that, I'll give the floor to Adam.
Awesome.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Adam. I've been working on a WebXR project for the past year. Maybe some of you seen in the Discord in the show off section. I posted the Neo Fables project there maybe like 2 weeks ago, I think. So it's an like fully AI generated storytelling experience, and it's fully dynamic. So the idea is that any user can come and just describe the kind of story that he wants to experience, and then everything is generated for him. So yeah, and it was like launched for public maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. So now I'm just like slowly trying to find some people to test it out and try it, and yeah, and just enjoy my time as well.
Okay, since I asked for it, let me go next. I'm Earthworm Jim, or call me Samuel, whichever you want. I'm the author of Smooth Voxels, which you might have also seen around here and there. Lately, I've been busy with J 13K games contest. I think Source Code also has one entry there, so please play if you want on JS 13K games. I'm writing up. I'm doing a write-up. Actually, Diego Marcos asked about maybe doing a write-up because there's a lot of stuff in it that he says he gets a lot of questions about. So I'm doing a write-up. So I'm still busy on the contest at this point.
Yeah, you did A-frame, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like 10 lines A-frame, and all the other stuff is 3JS. So there's not much A-frame in there. I just basically only the scene is A-frame, and that's really like 10, 15 lines of A-frame, and all the rest is 3JS.
Cool. Are we doing a whole round of people introducing?
Yeah, why not for the new people?
Yeah, then I can go next as well. Source Code. Been a fan of WebXR for a long time. I don't know, very long time. I have a background in web development mostly, but also in 3D and game development. I work as an architect right now at Wonderland, but I'm mostly working with helping customers and building games. A lot of 2D games, or 3D games,
Wonderland
but not
engine?
Wonderland engine, yeah.
Oh,
But
nice.
I'm not developing the engine itself. I'm mostly a user of the engine, but I help people that have trouble building stuff, or I build things for them. I build components, tutorials, and a lot of not XR things lately. I'm actually working on a very nice game at the moment, which I cannot tell much about, but it's not VR. Outside of work, I do VR. I did the 3S 13K again this year. I use Babylon JS. And I was working the last few days of getting one of my old entries of JS 13K that I did a rebuild of in Wonderland, but that's my test project to get it into a APK for years. And now that Meta allows them into the store, I'm working on getting it into there. And there's not a lot of work on the game to get it done, but you have to create artwork and stuff. So that's a lot of work. So yeah, that's me.
Nice. I have one question. Is your name like a joke for source code?
Yes.
Ever since
Yes.
I saw your name. Okay.
I'm Dutch as well. I guess you are Dutch.
Yeah, I
as
figured.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if
you are too,
pronounce...
right? Or from Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Dutch
Yeah.
people here.
So
What the
obvious.
hell?
I actually used to run
So,
a WebXR meetup in the Netherlands, which is kind of stopped due to COVID.
Isn't it supposed to be online?
But I had an offline meetup in the Netherlands. But yeah, source code is, if you pronounce source code in Dutch, it's source code,
Ah,
and that's
Yeah.
I used that.
Yeah.
I used to write a lot of code for people in school. They would go to demo parties and stuff, and I wrote a lot of code for them. So they called me source code. And then when you translate it to English and pronounce it in English way, it's source code. So that's where it came from. My other nickname before that was Mental Chicken, but that's not. Um, I've never used that actually.
who wants to go next?
I could give an intro. I feel like it's been a while since I've done one of these. So yeah, I'm Daniel, aka M Sub 2. Been in WebXR for I think over 4 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. Um, I do a lot of web development type stuff. Played around with a lot of the WebXR frameworks. Recently, I've even started getting more into like implementation side, working on Servo's WebXR implementation, which has been pretty interesting. But it's also now at the point where the only problems left are all interesting problems and not trivial things like implementing new API, like doing WebXR layers, getting Serverless WebXR implementation to run on Android, which requires adding support for a whole other graphic stack. It's like lots of like objectively cool things to do, but I am maybe starting to get a little starting to top out a little bit, so I'm kind of itching to get back to content creation. I had a couple game prototype things that I was sort of working on before I went off on my side quest to do implementation stuff.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I sort of wanted to do something else, and then I sort of started smooth voxels in between to get some stuff done, and then that was a couple of years before
Yeah.
I could get back to doing the stuff I actually was doing, and I haven't sort of finished that either. Anyway, so
Yeah.
that seems to be the way it works anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I would also want to say something like my name is Ritik and I'm from India, and I started as a Java NetBeans developer and got into JDBC, MySQL and stuff. From there, I thought that the web is quite cool and like learn JavaScript, PHP. Like it was through the MySQL way, uh, from the databases to the front end, and then slowly got really good with the web and discovered Flutter in around 2018 somewhere, and worked for over 2.5 years with Flutter. And like I really got very good at it, but then I realized that getting someone on an app is very tough. Like first you have to build the app, then you have to publish it. You need to also have a website where you describe everything about your app. Then you give the users a link to your app where they download it. They have to wait for it to download. And if it's a UGC, like user generated content thing, they cannot access it. They cannot even read or do anything without signing in. And like for most of cases they need to be signed in, even if it's a utility app. And this is just for getting the user for one time, and for the second time you want to have it like the user has to remember your name, and they have to get onto your app again. So building a hook is also very difficult. But then I realized the power of web, that web is so cool, so easy. You just share a link and everything happens on the web. Like I have been doing web all along, like even before that with React, Angular, and other stacks. But fortunately I got into 3D and I left Flutter completely, because then I was like, what else is left to be explored on web, right? Because we see everything. And slowly from there I got more into 3D, and eventually figured out A-frame and then hubs, and been working with hubs for uh, quite some time. I think more than a couple of years. Met Matt there, Matt Cool, and slowly like learned from many more people, Dom, Greg Fodder, like so many awesome people who used to get into the weekly Friday meetups, and then learned so many more things from Imaginer. And yeah, just I'm on my journey of getting things there. But yeah, I just love hubs really very much. Just like right now we are in hubs and we see the power of web. I'm also working recently on web GPU things, as just for the trying with to get things working. And yeah, it's awesome to meet you guys here. Thank you.
That's awesome to have you.
I guess I'll go. Doug Reeder. I'm a WebXR consultant, but I actually make most of my money on just ordinary full stack web development. I've been working with A-Frame for quite a few years now, but in the last month or two, I've started working with hubs, and I'm very interested in getting the behavior graphs working and harmonized with the other groups working on behavior graphs in different contexts, so that people, so users, will be able to make content that they can take with them from one world to another. I think that will make open worlds a lot more attractive than the closed worlds like VR chat.
Ooh, you and I are on the same page. I want to talk to you privately after this.
Okay. Yeah, and there's interest out there. I see because there's people working on it for Babylon and where all. Oh, and that tool. There's a tool that's kind of like Spoke, but it's no. There's a number of groups working on it in different contexts, and it's clear to me that there's a lot of room for harmonization. So it and it'll take a while to get, because not not everyone's going to want to implement every node type and every extension right away. But we have open standards, so we can do that. So basically, we can it can evolve the environment, the ecosystem. That's the word I'm looking for. The ecosystem can evolve according to what people need, not according to what a small number of people think it ought to be. So that's
I think
about
I
all.
can introduce myself next, if you guys don't mind. My name is Nima. I've been doing XR stuff for a little over a decade now. Just very recently got really into WebXR. I was interested to like web VR stuff way back in the day, but obviously once everyone switched to WebXR, I waited a little bit for the spec to mature. I'm currently the vice president of product at Infinite Reality. We're making a WebXR engine, which I think is really cool. I hope you guys check it out someday. And yeah, I recently was just at MetaConnect and did the WebXR workshop there. So I never really messed with 3JS myself. I'm more of a product person, but I built a little WebXR demo there and learned how the spec works, and tried to uh, try to see what all the possibilities are. And I was pretty amazed by how quickly you can put something together and give someone a really immersive, interactive experience with pretty little effort. And I think that's pretty magical. I think that if the web can continue being easier than native dev, I think there's a lot of magic that we can have. Being more accessible and being easier to build is, I think, a huge win. And I'm really happy to see such cool people and meetups like this one and try to build a future with you guys.
For sure, yeah. How big was
Nice.
the WebXR workshop session? Like, how many people roughly?
It was pretty small. I'd say, like, not including Meta employees across the 2 rooms, was maybe between 1 to 2 dozen people.
Okay.
And that might sound like a lot, but every other session I went to was like 50 plus people. So the WebXR one was definitely the smallest. But I think that makes sense since so much of their existing product offerings are focused on native. I think that based on the team that at Meta that's working on that, hopefully that'll change in the next couple of years. Right now they have about 6 people working full-time on WebXR. And they want to grow their team. So it'd be really cool to see some great people join their team and build some cool stuff. Obviously, they're the most popular WebXR platform today. That obviously could change now that Vision Pro supports it. And obviously, mobile is a huge platform that also supports WebXR. So yeah, I don't know. It's just really exciting. I think right now is the time for people to dive in. And then 2 years from now, it's going to be magic.
I read somewhere, or I don't know, heard somewhere that they were going to allow WebXR spatial components. Did they talk about that? Because I couldn't find anything online about that. So basically,
No, they did announce their spatial SDK, and I know that they are trying to support more parts of the WebXR spec. But the main thing that they were focused on was packaging WebXR apps and treating them like native apps. So basically, you can make WebXR PWAs if you follow their system, you use their bubble wrap CLI tool, and it'll let you just ship them on their store in the same way that regular native apps get shipped, which I think is actually a big deal, namely around monetization. They're going to allow in-app purchases and being featured. So WebXR content can now be featured the same way native apps can. So I actually think that's a pretty big deal. But as far as extensions to being able to do like AR objects in space or like spatial objects, that isn't really a thing they talked about this year.
Okay. Cool.
That's really cool. So PWAs still need a click. Oh. Everything just froze.
Oh yes.
Okay. So PWAs still need to click a button to enter, right? It's not just entering the app. That's it.
No, the PWA on Quest, they're trying to make it so it's automatic. So it'll be just like any library app. They did say that they prefer that you probably add a title button, but it's not required. So you literally could just click on the icon and just launch straight into the WebXR experience.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that would be the best.
It's really cool to see your own app appear between other apps on your device. You could do that in the past, but you could not submit it to the store, and it was on a separate list. So you have a list of unverified apps you can install on the Quest. And they don't show up between all your other games. And with this, you can already, without submitting to the store, see your own game in that list, which is pretty awesome.
Totally. There's actually one additional caveat though that I forgot to mention. So if you do want to build the progressive web app for their store, they actually require that you launch straight into immersive mode and do not have a regular 2D page to hit enter VR. Otherwise, they will not accept it. They'll reject the app. So you have to do some special tweaks for your WebXR experience to be able to ship to the Meta store.
I believe Rick said that what they did for immersive PWAs is that they just removed the requirement for user activation on a page before calling request session. So I think you would just have to like add a branch in your thing to like check if we're running in a PWA and then don't wait for a button press to start.
Yeah, I think I'm going to contact you later on because I'm really interested in this, in how PWAs will work in Meta. Because I mean, I for what I'm understanding now, they will not be on the store itself, but they will be they could be featured on. Oh.
No,
okay,
they said they're going to be treated exactly like native apps. They will be featured.
Okay, so they will be featured, but they will not be in the store themselves, right?
No,
or can
sorry.
they?
To clarify, they said they will literally be treated 100% like native apps. You
Oh,
will have the
oh,
same native app system on their portal.
oh, that's really good.
They will show up like exactly like if you follow their steps, they will treat the progressive web app exactly like a
As an
native
app.
app in
Oh, oh,
every
oh.
single way. You get the analytics, you get in-app purchases. If you search the store for the name, it'll just pop up as a normal app. They are treating they call it their open store now is their new name for it, and they're treating
Okay.
everything the same way. That means 2D apps, XR apps, WebXR apps are all going to be in the exact same search system, and they
That
will
is
look like
incredible.
normal apps. And as far as I know, they're not even going to label it differently, though maybe if you click into the app it might have a tag somewhere that says the WebXR PWA, but they didn't talk about that. So
Okay.
this system should be coming out, they said, before the end of the year. So probably
Mm-hmm.
they said November, December, we'll be able to have
Okay.
access to it and start shipping onto the Quest store.
Yeah, that
Okay,
sounds
that
really
would be
great.
thanks for telling that to us.
I just tested something. I didn't do anything special on my homepage to get into to force it into VR. The only thing I have implemented is the offer session functionality. I think they might be using that to allow someone to just trigger the VR.
Yeah, I was wondering
Because
if
it's
they were
funny that
going
you
into
said that,
that
but
too.
I didn't change anything about my site, but that's already implemented.
Nice.
It would be cool if they would use that because that's what it's for, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they're the only ones that like have it implemented, like even. So.
Yeah, but yeah, they make use of it. Yeah, but it works. You just click on the logo on in the list of your apps. That's anything else. The only thing I have found that is really not working well is when you try to exit VR. Um, you
Yeah, what
get
is it?
into a
Exit.
weird situation where you need to close a browser window, but it's not really the browser window. You see the browser window, but not, your app is not in there. But your app is also on the taskbar somewhere else. So it's a really weird situation. I think it might be a bug on there, and in how that should work, or I'm doing something wrong. But yeah, I
I
haven't
really
figured that
like
out.
how Pico lets you take any website and just add it to your library as though it's an app. I wish that Quest allowed you to do that. But I
Yeah.
think they're moving that direction. I made a request and they said it's like something they're currently discussing. Yeah, to other people's points, how much of a PWA can it be if you have to package it specifically and ship it through an app store and the user has to install it, right? Like the user should just be able to hit a button on their browser and have it added as though it's an app.
Well, one thing is the monetization is really hard when it's only a web application. If you can have that's what I'm thinking of doing with this game is giving away the first 5 puzzles for free. You can play that anywhere, and the rest you can play if you pay $1 on the store or something. Um, as an experiment to see how I can do monetization. I ran into some
Yeah, I
issues
think
there with the
Yeah,
text and
they.
stuff. But
I think the fact they're supporting monetization is like the best thing ever. So I think the one
Yeah.
downside is though that if you do it through that way, Meta's going to take 30% of your money.
Ooh, that's
And
right.
do you know whether they are going to provide like some API access so that you can trigger the monetization like from inside the app?
I think that we will see that until November, but
They
there was
they did mention that they're looking at like the digital goods API, which I think is a recent-ish like W3C thing for doing payments.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you'll be able to call like just stuff from JavaScript, but it's going to hook into Meta specific implementation, I think.
Yeah, and maybe they will also provide access to real user accounts, perhaps. That because often you need like user account for your application. Maybe you could also hook up to the Meta account somehow.
Maybe.
yeah,
I think our
they
friend over
mentioned the
here
digital
crashed.
goods API. Not anything else yet. No.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
thinking
he's
doing the
back.
same
He's
source
back.
code. I'm thinking on actually. Oh, I'm thinking on also blocking some content on my game behind a paywall, but I'm not sure I'm ready to do that yet. I'm not
The
that popular.
downside, the other side is I don't like doing that.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I've already put them free available right now, and
Yeah.
the thing is, I built instruments, so I'm thinking of how can I like just I don't know
Yeah.
maybe just 5 sounds are free and the other 100 and something are paid or something. I don't know how I'm going to monetize because I think that we as web developers are not used to monetizing stuff that way.
No, no, no.
Yeah, it's even more tricky with my app since it's running with the AI live. So then for
Yeah.
each generation you need like it costs some money. So you basically need the user to pay something. So it's not even easy to give him like a free trial because like the free trial costs you something. So
It will cost you
it's even
tokens, yeah.
trickier. Yeah.
There is a checkbox in the process about ads. You have to say if there are ads in your app or not, which did make me think that they might allow ads in an application, because I believe they don't right now.
That's
If
my
that's the
understanding.
case,
Yeah.
yeah, then that would be the way to monetize. Um,
Okay,
if
guys,
also,
I have to leave. But
oh,
wait. Sorry.
No worries.
Ciao.
Thanks for
Bye
stopping
bye.
by.
Hi.
Bye.
yeah, if you can do ads in some way, then that might be a way to monetize.
It's interesting to me in their policies that it says like you can't run ads for anything without like written agreement with Meta. So I'm like curious who they would even grant an exception for on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Monetization is the hardest part, I think, and that I think that's also what's keeping WebXR back a bit.
I just shared a link to
Yeah.
something a platform that just launched. It's called Polar, and I just linked it in the Discord. It looks interesting. I haven't dove into it deeply yet.
Polar.sh.
Yes, I believe that's it.
And is here anyone with an experience of getting your app featured in the browser?
Yes, and also with having it removed and then not getting it back.
Oh shit! and what was the process?
I think there's a form you need to fill out, and if they
Yeah.
allow it, it pops into the store.
Hmm.
That and you don't
Yeah.
get any feedback.
Yeah. So that was what I was curious about because I filled it like a month ago, and since then like zero communication, nothing. And so I was just wondering whether it's just me or maybe if it's also someone like common common experience. So it's
now you
probably
might
common
be
experience.
able to ask, but I haven't been able to get a lot of feedback on why my game was featured, then got removed. Something broke at some point, and then it was removed. Something with the controller, I think, broke, and then it was removed.
Oh.
And then I fixed it and resubmitted it again, and it was not allowed back in.
So they didn't even tell you why they removed it?
No, I have never figured out. Well, they removed it because of the controller that was broken. I think the game
That's
was working
unfortunate.
fine on Quest 2, and then when the Quest 3 came out, it turned out that one of the controllers didn't work correctly on the Quest 3. So then I got a Quest 3, I fixed the issue and resubmitted it, but then it never got through again.
Yeah, like the discoverability of the WebXR app is like just after monetization, that's like the second biggest obstacle, I guess.
Yeah, no, discovery is big.
Yeah, and if you are on the new tab page, it's great for your app.
Yeah.
For that app, for me, it completely killed all users. Well, the user that's were playing the game, they're not really dead now, I hope. Maybe that's what happened. That's why no one is playing the game anymore. No, it's just like from a lot of people to now 6 a month or something. It's almost
Dang.
nothing.
Well, that's unfortunate. At least if they communicate it a little bit more, that would be at least something. But this is like the sort of Damocles, or how's it called?
I think they fully admitted that this like new tab page process could be improved. I remember last time I talked to Felix about it because I sort of indirectly got one of my things on the new tab page because it's a fork of an old Mozilla thing that they stopped hosting. But yeah, the last time I talked to him about it, saying, "Hey, can you update the URL for this?" He was like, "Sure thing. By the way, we're actually like training someone to do this position sometime soon." So I don't know where that's at. But it would be nice to just be able to like have a direct correspondence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what would happen if there are more and more apps and things are being submitted to there and coming onto the new tab page. What would you need to do to stay up on the new tab page?
Right.
Thing is, it could become a whole ecosystem on its own.
Right, and it's like right now they seem to just kind of be like making some new rows, but I feel like eventually they'll like stop on a number, and then it becomes a game of like, okay, how do I get my app into these like, I don't know, 30 or 40 slots?
And has anyone an experience with the Hey VR IO, the aggregator of the apps, basically?
It's been a while since I uploaded a game there, but it's relatively smooth. I think there's just a step where one of them like has to do a review of the like game content.
And do you remember what was the impact in terms of the users? Like, did it like improve the discoverability, or are users just not really browsing?
Well, the game I did there, I specifically launched onto Hey VR. It did. I don't think it ever got like front page featured anywhere, so view counts aren't huge. I don't know exactly what the rate has been since I uploaded it because that was like a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, maybe I will try to talk to them as well. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think if you have a game, I think you should submit it there. I think it's the one place that's really hosting on WebXR games.
Yeah, that's the only place I know about. Maybe there's more, but I only know about this one.
Yeah, there on itch.io there are a couple of WebXR games as well.
Hard to find them sometimes. You have to like filter by web free tagged with VR.
Yeah, it's not like you discover them by just going there and have a look at what's there. You have to really specifically start searching for specific WebXR games to find them, and that's hard. That's not. And you know that because you make WebXR games, but someone else. Yeah.
And Pico has also like some kind of front page, or
they do, and I don't know who you talk to get anything updated there now.
Oh, okay.
One thing I ran into.
Everything's so mysterious. Oh no.
Yeah.
One thing I ran into is my games. I have entries for them on itch.io, and since they want you, basically they allow you to run it in an iframe, and some of the new security APIs, they have to explicitly give permission for various things, and they haven't given permission yet for the gamepad API. And so my app wasn't working correctly in the iframe, and so sort of thing, it works fine on a website on my own, and if I could just have a link to it, it would work fine. But I had to do some work to figure out what was going on, and just because of the way itch.io had set things up.
Yeah, did you end up getting it like resolved? Because I remember to get the XR spatial tracking allow for the iframes, I had to like raise an issue on their issues repo.
What I did is I went to, instead of having my game as such running in the iframe, that's a page which is basically a launch page for the game. And basically you click on a link on that page and then that takes you into the game proper.
Yeah,
in another tab. Yeah, basically I had to say target blank.
Can I jump in and ask a quick question? We're talking about like how we kind of market based on like platforms which kind of control that. I'm wondering, like, what have we seen in WebXR where there's more kind of organic marketing that just has lends itself to like an explosion in users. I'm thinking of like Corridor Crew featured hubs one time, and it just completely like, and we got like, I mean, it was like a huge explosions of users for that week. We didn't like retain any of them because for various reasons. But like that's like a great example of like how something could actually get a lot of discovery. And I mean, I think I like these kinds of approaches because it's more like within our control. Like because a lot of these other like methods we're talking about are just we're kind of dependent on these other platforms. So I'm wondering, like, has anyone heard anything like that? Like, I think the Corridor Crew example is pretty good. I'm trying to think of like other times we've blown up, like Hacker, the Orange site, a couple times blew up hubs. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else has any other examples.
Of like organic like bursts of activity from certain things you were saying?
Yeah, like that could be just as effective as, say, getting it on like a new tab page potentially. Yeah, things like that. Like so that we don't have to rely on like the rule, like packaging our thing to make sure it gets on this.
Well, I think a lot of it is building up communities. And so people do just the social sharing of the links by themselves. But we have to have content that ordinary people want to use.
Yeah. I will let you know shortly because just like this week, I will do like more of a like marketing push. I want to just show it to some YouTubers and news sites and stuff like that. So I can let you know the impact after.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since like the last like I guess big exciting sort of project in WebXR happened. Like I don't know, there hasn't been I remember I was like very hyped for the Escape Artist. Like there was like a build up to that. And like we all saw how it eventually turned out. It's great. It's like one of the new standards for WebXR like experience quality. And now I'm trying to think like how can we like keep iterating at or near that level?
It's tough.
It is tough.
I think like what could like help is to like leverage the advantage of WebXR, since like you have much greater freedom here than on the official store in theory. In theory, you can do stuff that wouldn't be allowed on the official store. Maybe that's like one way how to sell WebXR to more people, because you could have like some more like unorthodox experiences. And maybe like that to me seems like the greatest like potential selling point is just like the creative freedom here.
Yeah, but ultimately people buy a headset. They don't care about going into a website and searching for something.
But maybe it's something, like they already do. So let's, for instance, Wordle came out now as a PWA, one of these experimental type stories. And to me, they just kind of phoned it in. It was a very two-dimensional flat experience. Could very easily have gotten 3Dified and made a bit more immersive, and that would have reflected really the WebXR capability of it to do that. And it, I don't think, should have been that hard. If you look at like somebody did a version of Flappy Birds for the Apple Vision Pro, and that could be, and it's an old tech, but very easy to re-implement in a first player view. As the user, you're the bird flapping through these things, and I thought that was a really good reimagination of a 2D experience that was easy to implement in 3D without a lot of overhead, and that fits a WebXR format, for instance. So I think some of that is low hanging fruit.
But then it needs to be in the store as a PWA, and then people that just have that know Flappy Bird or know Wordle see that game in the store because it is featured, or they search for a game similar to that and it comes up. I think the trickiest way is for people like us that don't have millions to spend on marketing of a game to get our games into the store at a position that people will just stumble upon it.
Yeah, like it would be amazing to have like some open source. Do you remember like Newgrounds, I think, or Armor Games, like these old Java, old
The old
web
Flash game websites?
aggregators. Yeah, the the Flash games. It was for the old, mostly Flash games and videos and stuff like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the disadvantage is that it was, again, back in the day it was privately owned, so you had the same issue of getting on the front page and stuff like that. But if somehow we could have like open source, like our own store, basically, like for WebXR stuff, where it could be maybe a little bit more, like fair in terms of like getting perhaps on the front page. That would be difficult to govern a little bit. But yeah, like if we had like our own little ecosystem, our own little store or page, that would be maybe kind of the solution for everything.
It's definitely, discovery is definitely one of those things that I've thought about. I've actually at my work with Zesty been prototyping what like could be a potential answer, a sort of like distributed kind of auto indexer for WebXR experiences, I guess you could think of it as, where some people would run these like nodes that would like collect data about experiences, and the experiences would have like a little script that calls out to them, and then it kind of just like organically you can get information about your app into this system, and then maybe down the line you can like ask it, like send a request to like, hey, what are 3 experiences similar to this one that I'm in right now, and get something back and have this like web of discovery chain going.
And part of that something could be something like RSS, or even using the RSS format or Atom format itself. I mean, in that way you can have multiple people publishing feeds, and users are free to say, well, I like this feed. No, I don't like that. That feed has stuff I don't care about, and things like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It would just help to like, especially if there were games participating that are like already on the new tab page, like spreading some of that audience out to experiences that might not otherwise be able to get the like same levels of traffic that a new tab page experience gets.
And even greater if it over time got like the name or brand recognition, so people would know that if they want to get some WebXR experience, they should use like this service.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we'd have something where you could review WebXR games, and if you did good reviews, people would say, "Oh, hey, that guy knows what he's talking about. I'll lean more heavily on his recommendations."
Yeah.
I think HeyVR should make an app, a PWA app in the store,
They did for
and
Pico
then
already,
somehow
haven't they?
I don't know. I don't own a Pico, so I have
Mm.
no idea.
I
But
think I remember them making like a tweet about it.
Their individual apps are available. Like you click through into a HeyVR app through the front page of the Quest browser that it shows you. But there is a lot of, click through this to get to that sort of experience still. And I don't know if you can like persistently keep your login session, and there's it doesn't seem completely streamlined, and I think PWA might work well for them because that's their intention, to be kind of like a gateway into a lot of these, dip into one experience, go into the next one, an arcade style approach to it. I mean, it would be good for them to do that, I think,
yeah,
if Meta will let them.
similar to what Rec Room does. Those are all games in a certain style, but you can just go in and then you go to different games. Or Roblox, for example, it's just a whole bunch different games that are basically coming from one platform. Um, it's not entirely the same because it's games can be all over the place, but um, you can implement one of their APIs for doing leaderboards, for example, or they have a couple more. Um, I can imagine just if you have experience that are kind of focused on HeyVR, and you come in to, that there is a HeyVR portal that might drive people to your WebXR experience just by having them on HeyVR.
Yeah, actually, you know what I'm kind of missing in the whole ecosystem right now with that XR, but also with like the Quest in general. What you're talking about, like Rec Room and I guess VR chat and those kind of services, they have like their world and like experiences in them, and you can go from one to the other. But what is true for WebXR and like the Quest ecosystem in general is like you still like you open one app and then you have to close it, and then
Yeah.
you have to open like another one. You have like to open another PWA or something. There isn't really something for example, we're all hanging out, right? And we want to go to like a different experience together. Then basically all of us gotta close our current like website, all of us open the other one, and if it opens if it offers multiplayer, we all like enter the same code or something to get in somewhere. There's not really an easy way for us, all of us, to step into a portal right now and go to like another experience entirely. I think that's something maybe if we could like develop some kind of open spec to change from one PWA to another without like leaving the PWA, but more like with a general system, some kind of spec. I think that kind of thing could be huge. I mean, it's complex, of course, but I think we need something to switch between experiences, like as a group, in this kind of new social system that we have.
I think
Which
what you're
Yeah,
everyone
talking
feels the
about
same way.
falls under WebXR navigation, which is I see often requested and I guess slowest moving sort of WebXR spec idea at the moment, where Quest supports
Yeah,
it if you're same origin without a flag. If cross origin, you have to set a flag. Um,
yeah,
every
but
time
that is
someone
still
brings
just
it
for
up,
single
it's like
player moving from one room to another.
mm, it's like security always comes up as like the main concern with doing like immersive navigation. It's like how do you communicate to the user explicitly enough about like what domain they're trying to proceed to? How do you prevent that from being like exploited or like falsified or abused? Like what is the system's like trusted gesture for confirming things and whatever? And it's an interesting problem that I would like to see like more movement on it. I don't know if it's just because like one of those cycles of no devs are using it because it's not available and it's not getting worked on because no devs are using it, type thing, or I don't know.
It's yeah, kind of. I think it's also the same way with like with any ecosystem, right? With phones, we got so used to like working with apps and those icons that you just intuitively start thinking in the same way, and it's like an entirely different way of thinking about like experiences where you want to move from one to the other or organically without like closing experience and then opening another one. So I think, yeah, if no one really thinks in that way, then no one else also think. It is kind of a feedback loop, I think. Yeah, I think you're right there.
I think the offer session is also one way of saying to the system, you can use this to go into VR. But then if you are going to switch from one experience to another experience, even on the same domain, if everything would be on HeyVR, if you go from one game to another game, then you will run into issues because the first game is built with A-Frame, the second one is built with Babylon, the third one is built with Wonderland, another one is built completely custom. And in one game, you use your left hand to walk around because that's how Babylon implemented it by default. You chose another engine and you build it differently. How are you going to go streamline those experiences? It will be completely weird if you just walk into a portal and all of a sudden you have to switch to your right hand to keep walking forward.
Yeah, I mean that's of course the challenges of like a spec. There should probably like some things left to the creator to decide on, and some things that are like either forced or kind of or suggested. Like, hey, usually this is how navigation goes. But
There's actually a
ultimately, it
group
should be up to
called
the developer.
There's a group called the Open Metaverse Interoperability group, and that's that's sort of what they work on. Not necessarily between word builders, but more for
really
consistency across GLTF extensions. How to implement avatars that where you can maintain certain looks and feels across
that's another one.
World spaces and things. There's a specifically for portaling. There's a group called Meta Traversal, and one of the WebXR guys who's behind the Poly Awards, Bill Irwin. I think he's involved with that, and they do meetups every once in a while, and they demonstrate this kind of portaling between hubs, for instance, where we are now, and a place like Nowhereland, or there's Hyperfi, or some other fill in the blank WebXR based world space, and you can go between them, and it is an interesting experience. I mean, I don't know if you notice which hand is which, but it is possible to do. Even they had some early on. There used to be a few years ago. They used to do a golf tournament that was in the Golf Plus application, and it was connected to a sort of a meetup room in Engage, which is the world space. They do a hosted world platform, and you could meet up in Engage and walk through the portal and be on the greens in this golf experience, and you would play the HeyVR golf. You play the Golf Plus application. So there's a few
really
little mix-ups of that type of thing, but it is very early days, and part of what's holding it back, like M2 said, was the cores issue and the deep linking and the pixel ripping and the same things that get you in trouble from moving from normal web development into the spatial web, pixel ripping and things like that.
Sorry, what is pixel ripping? Can you explain it shortly for me, please?
It's one of the reasons that they don't allow you to embed spatial applications. So the iframing of a spatial application and it's the other reason why that cores is such a requirement in the space, because somebody could just be recording their screen, and again, the permission side of the user experience. I don't. There's guys in here. I think Sub Two knows more about the actual goings on of the work group, but it's where when the immersive work group guys suggest something, and then it gets into the Chromium larger review system, and then they get all kinds of breaks thrown at them, and it's limited a lot of what was possible to expand this standard, is my understanding of it, at least.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, but anyway, I thought dog reader, weren't you also like kind of into this kind of matter? You were talking earlier about having experiences that you take with you to show other people.
Yeah, with behavior graphs, you'll be able to embed them in a GLTF file, and that GLTF file, and if any world that allows users to bring their own GLTF files, then can have objects that have behavior. So that doesn't lend itself to or at least it does not easily lend itself to having a whole game or a big game, but it lends itself to mini games quite well. And ultimately, I mean, we'll have to see how that evolves, because yeah, again, it ends up being another programming language and another sandbox, and there's open questions about what they'll have access to. But clearly, at least some of the simpler stuff you could do. I mean, like it should be straightforward to make a vehicle that can be imported into any virtual world, because it'll have controls that the user will use, and then it will move itself around, and you allow users to place themselves inside it, and that's not a big security risk. And once users can do things like that, then you open up the floodgates of all the people who are making things on VR chat or in Roblox or whatever. You have there's huge numbers of people on there creating content on there, interactive content there, and who are not necessarily programmers as such.
Do you have like a demo of this kind of thing? Is it something you've got in development, or I'm really
Oh,
curious to
let's
see something
see.
like this.
Rithik had his demo of that working in hubs. Rithik, can you post you want to post that?
There's some good demos on YouTube too. I could throw in the Discord meetup chat. I'll throw them in right now.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Do you want a link to that?
Yeah, maybe a link that people, or to something in video or whatever that people can see.
Just like drop the video in here as a GLTF. I wish you could.
Well, you can drop in a video.
You can drop in a video. YouTube is.
It's not yet. We are working on going live in next 3 days. So yeah, it's not to be shared, but can be shared.
I have 2 links about it.
Oh, cool.
Well, basically, it's the Hubs Foundation has a whole thing about it with other links to more information. I was just looking into that. I think the idea is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I got in the playlist I posted there. There's like different demos of behavior graphs, and it shows you what it looks like in Blender as well, just to give you kind of like a high level what like it can do, and then how it appears in Blender.
So,
Yeah,
but what about like if you were to bring a mini game, then how does like networking work? Like, even if you and I are in the same space and you drop like a GLTF and it loads for both of us, then isn't there like some overhead required to make it like synchronized for both of us?
I am not quite sure how that's handled yet. Obviously, there's some concerns about that because you have concerns about, well, should this behavior be running on everybody's client or just one?
Yeah.
Because some things it would make sense just to say run on the behavior would run on the owner's machine, and then you synchronize its position and its attributes to other to the other people there. So I mean, you're already synchronizing the position, rotation, yeah, and, well, color, not color, but
Scale?
yeah, skinning it or whatever. So any of those attributes can be handled by the existing mechanisms. And the fact that if there's some things that don't fit well into that, that is going to require more development. And I don't know, I haven't heard anything about that they expect that to happen.
Okay.
I mean, for single person experiences, that's not an issue.
No, yeah, it's for
and-
multiplayer. Yeah, synchronization is always like a big issue, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so far, behavior graphs have more been handled at a scene level rather than an in-room object level. But for that, you can do networked stuff. Like when you're defining behavior graph, you can choose what things are networked and what aren't. For the most part, I think. So you can choose whether the playing of a video will be networked or an animation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Videos might always be networked. But and whether variables are stored locally or not, and so like you get to control whether it updates or not, and then I believe it handles the network updates the same way as it does um, objects, networking the differences between various different objects and so forth. So depending on the owner, whoever owns the thing at the moment, then um, it runs that stuff on their client, and then it propagates the updates to everyone else's client. And so it depends on ownership of the thing. So when you say click a button, when some person clicks a button, then it takes the ownership of that and all of the updates to that one person, and that propagates to everyone else.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, biggest issue with in-room objects, like supporting in-room objects at the moment, I think, is just because in-room objects they're supposed to basically be one thing that you grab and move around, not not really the, the the individual interacting with individual parts of an object isn't really supported at the moment. That I'm not sure how exactly you would want the UI for that to be, because like, do you want to move the whole thing and position it at a specific place in the room or not? Maybe the best idea would be to essentially not work with any interactive behavior graphs until that object is pinned to a specific spot in the room. Now, or maybe it would make more sense to disable all behavior graphs on an in-room object until it's pinned into the room at a specific spot. Not entirely sure, but... And of course, then if you're doing vehicles that you're spawning in, that would be a little weird to have it pinned, but also moving everywhere. I don't know. All of this is still very heavily in development or experimental. It's not quite resumed development yet, but.
And one of the key things is that the standard doesn't call for everybody to have to implement the same set of nodes. And so there will be objects with your GLTF files that they fully work on one platform, but they don't fully work on another platform because some of the nodes aren't implemented or aren't allowed for security reasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why I talk in terms of mini games and toys and things like that are not inherently dependent on having everything work the way the original author intended, to be at least amusing.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think especially with WebXR, we're like pretty open with allowing any kind of content that we want. It's like unlimited creativity, like I think Adam said it earlier. So I think for WebXR, things like this are a really good, really good platform.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I mean, a lot of the stuff I see on VR chat is not very complicated behavior-wise, but there's a lot of people there who just love it and spend a lot of time with it. And so there's clearly an audience, a big audience, for even simple interaction.
Yeah, and that's on a platform that they don't even own or control. It's like belongs to like a company that has like their rules on it. Imagine if we could like move this stuff to like the internet where nobody necessarily has ownership, or everyone has ownership of their own content, and they can bring it into other worlds or host their own worlds and just move between them dynamically. That's like my dream for WebXR.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll see that, and I suspect that the open source worlds will tend to implement a lot of stuff that the sharing stuff that and implement some things that the closed platforms may not be interested with, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately becomes a strength of the open community, in that there's no one who can tell you, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically just like the internet, but just spatial this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows exactly how things are going to wind up, but the behavior graphs are a mechanism to do a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a Turing complete language. So basically, we're at the beginning of something like when JavaScript was first added to the browser.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing that. You like dropped a link in the Discord, or someone else did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's several.
I'm gonna check that out for sure. It sounds so interesting.
Okay, in the Discord, you've only dropped the link for the Blender add-on. If you want to try out behavior graphs, and they do work, you will need to add that support into the Hubs client. And at the moment, the latest way of doing that is to switch to the add-ons branch of the Hubs client, and then add in the um, behavior graphs add-on for the Hubs client. So it's still a bit of a lift to test it out, but definitely possible.
But the behavior graphs are not hub specific, right?
Correct.
So the Hubs just has a nice plugin for Blender.
Yeah, we appear to have one of the implementations that's furthest along, but there are other implementations out there.
Yeah, so I could just use that tool to create a behavior graph in a file, a GLTF file, and then export that, and then just see what end up in there, and just experiment with it and build something in A-frame that handles that behavior graph as well.
Well, A-frame doesn't, there's not an A-frame component for that yet. We'll probably have to look into packaging that at some point as an A-frame component. Right now, you could probably take it to the Babylon JS implementers and say, hey, I've got a behavior graph here. Can I try run it in your implementation? There was a fellow on the forum who said they're fairly close to releasing something.
I'm not entirely sure about that because we may have the behavior graphs. Behavior graphs in Hubs, they're based on the KHI interactivity specification, but we might have that wrapped in our own specific component. I forget. So it might not be fully just plug and playable in something else at the moment. I mean, it uses the same type of thing, but
yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to work on, is simply taking our stuff and well, harmonize with how the standards have changed, and then export it and try it with other people and say, get it to a point where we can take it to the other groups and say, hey, I want to try this with yours, and then see what they have, and then try and make it work in ours.
Yeah, that would be good. That'll allow more content sharing and expand the ecosystem.
And we need to iterate on what nodes need to exist and the capabilities of those nodes, and you can't know that in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Also, how would you describe the ease of content creation for these behavior graphs?
I gotta reload.
Pretty easy. With the Blender add-on, it's just a node graph thing. So like, if you have any experience with Blender shader nodes or geometry nodes or something like Houdini or I think Nuke, essentially, depending on the complexity of what you want to do, it can be very easy. Like if you just want to make something happen on a button press, all you need to do is add in an on interact node and set which object you want to make clickable, and then set another node for what you want to do, like say toggle wireframe. You do a set material node and connect those two together, and then it sets the material to wireframe, or to any other material that you want, or something like that. So, or if you have experience with blueprints in like Unity or Unreal, I forget which one the names their node interface blueprints, but
Yeah, Unreal.
Unreal, okay. So if anyone's experienced with using the blueprint system in Unreal, then it should be very similar to that.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, because I was hoping, like this kind of idea seems like it could be very powerful if the users, like some, standard normal person, non-developer, could somehow also like make these and share them.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, definitely.
because for
Definitely.
me, like the first idea that came to my mind was like, all right, let's say I created like a business card type of thing, and I could just hand it to you, and maybe it could do like some animation, maybe open some web page or something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, can definitely do that. Actually, um, one of the people who is working on it, mainly for the past bit, Jim Conrad, he's primarily an artist, and he had no trouble working with behavior graphs, and
Hmm.
um, like eventually there is still the Blender interface. Like people do have to be familiar with Blender in order to use it. Eventually, I think we want to add support for behavior graphs to Spoke, so that then you can just click maybe a button on Spoke and add a behavior graph, and it'll open up an in-web UI node editor to do that. Um, but uh, that's further away, further down the road than the rest of the behavior graph stuff. But there there shouldn't be any barrier for entry on using behavior graphs inherently. It should be pretty user friendly.
Yeah.
I can show you guys a quick demo of how to create something very basic with behavior graph. So yeah, like
Yay.
suppose here we have uh, you have a simple mesh which I'm going to use as a floor, and I will also add a cube here. Why is this so big? Okay, let's start again. I have a simple plane here. Okay, and now I'm also going to add a cube. Like this is what I'm trying to say, that this is how you work with hub's ecosystem as well. Like you have a scene, you have an object which you are going to interact with. So basically we need to first add some lights in, right? So I'm going to add a empty here. Okay, I have added a plain axis empty, and I will go to the object where I'm gonna select hubs, and going to add a skybox here for the lighting. Okay, we also have a very real-time view here. So suppose want to, if I open a selected room, I've already created a room here. So if I open a selected room, it connects Blender live with my uh, this. It is going to connect with Firefox right now. So I think I'm not signed in. Yeah. So first thing you need to do is always sign in. So we'll be getting my link shortly. Okay, so I've got a sign in link. Okay, so it should be verified. All right. So once I'm signed in, I can click on update
Do you see
current scene.
something?
You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so cool.
Oh, I
As
cannot
you
see it.
click on update
Oh,
current scene,
whatever.
you see a skybox here in the scene. And so now what hubs works is with a sky with a nav mesh. So I'm going to select these two objects, the plane and the cube. I'm going to go to the scene properties, and it comes with a automatic navigation mesh builder. So the green area that you see is invisible, but it is visible in Blender. So once I click on update current scene, this gets updated. And now when I walk, I cannot go inside the cube. Okay, I'm trying to go inside, but I cannot go without the fly mode. So we also have the fly mode. Now I'm going to add a simple behavior graph here. Uh, if I want, I'm going to just add some color change for, sorry. Okay, and this also color, let me change. So, starting with a behavior graph, we have different behavior graphs here. Okay, so typically we would want to start with an event, like because you want something to happen after something has happened. So we have entity events because this cube is an entity, right? It's an object. So on object, you can either interact with the object, you can collision enter. Like suppose if you're walking, just you saw with the coin, you need to add some physics bodies there, but you can do these things on event. So I'm going to have an on interact event, and so you can see this on interact event comes with a output node, and it gives you the type that it works on others. Okay, like it can either work on itself, itself entity, or some other entity. So other, you have to select which other. So I'm selecting this cube, cube 001. Okay, and then I will add some event, like for example, uh we
Materials,
can,
I think.
okay, material, yeah.
Set material property. That'll change the color.
Okay, so in this prop we are changing the color, and the color is, from here let us change to orange, yellow, sorry, whatever it is, orange. Now what will happen, as soon as I click on this cube, the color will change, but now I cannot show you the
I think
debugger
you need to
because,
connect the nodes first, right?
Yeah,
The
you
output
need
to
to
the
connect
input.
the nodes, and you need to set which material you're changing.
okay, this input, right?
No, just that would be for doing it dynamically. Just click on the field, the material field, and select the material that you want that to change for. So I think your
Okay,
material is 001 or whatever, or 004. It looks like, yeah, material
4.
does 004. So just select that in the drop down menu.
Okay, awesome. So, and you can also select whether it is networked or non-networked. Okay, so if it is non-networked, it will only happen for you. If you do it networked, it will happen for everyone. Now, in the scene, just for some better user experience, I will add a spawn point as well. So this waypoint, which can be used as a spawn point. Okay, and yeah, I will have to look towards my right. So now I will export this scene because this server doesn't support it. So exporter extension, add, include. Okay. So suppose now I go to spoke. So this is how we create a scene basically. Okay, so this got published. I will open the scene and create a new room. And I need to add it. Okay. So now when I click on this cube, okay, this floor's material has changed. But I
But hey, it did work.
You change the
yeah,
ground color?
it did work. Okay, let's see once again in action. Because that was unexpected. Now we are gonna do with the yes. So when I click on this cube, the floor color will change. One, two, three, click. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is how we change the material. Okay,
yeah.
and
Should have written some unit tests to make sure that the floor, that the cube changes.
yeah. So basically, this is how easy it is. Like only with this much, you can actually change something which would have taken you like maybe hours of debugging and lots of coding knowledge. You only get a simple GLB which you can export and share with anyone and they can simply use it. So we are working little hard something to get
It's
this out.
very cool. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Very cool. And that's the simple thing. You can scale that up with all kinds of different properties changing and variables and stuff to build mini games and things.
Yeah.
Because I've done that. Aside from I've built a fully workable little small game in it. It's just um, you click on something to start the game, then it was for Halloween, so ghostly pumpkins appear, spawn all over the room, and come towards you, trying to eat you, and you have to click on them before they reach you, and that increases a score. And every time they reach you, then that decreases your score. So, like, kind of the sky is the limit for what you can do with this type of system. Um, it's very easy to get started and can scale quite large. So,
Yeah. I mean, I just have one question. When is the capability added right here that you can just drop your game in here right now and we can just all see it in action?
as soon as we can get that out, first off, there's some uh, bugs and hubs from a recent commit that we need to sort out. But then,
Yeah.
like, we need to merge in the add-ons branch into the hubs master, and then add in the behavior graph. So like we're
Yeah,
close
it's
as soon as we can get it out. But
I want it. I need it.
I know I very much want it to. I
yeah.
want both add-ons and behavior graphs done because, like, we also have some portals add-ons that Manuel created before he left, and like there's a visual effects add-on that he created before he left. So as soon as we get the add-ons branch in there, then people can install those add-ons and get really cool stuff. And it's just some bugs that we need to sort out, and then we can merge them and get them out to people.
Nice, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
Very cool.
and the
Sorry, guys, I
bugs
have to
that we
run.
have currently are
So
very
enjoy the
Uh,
rest.
Okay. See you, Adam.
yep.
Bye bye.
See you.
Finish your
Bye bye.
bye bye
contributions.
bye Adam.
Bye
And the
bye.
bugs are really crazy. Like there are some bugs with scaling, rotating, and so many other things which are not
Y-
very crazy bugs, but where they are very crazy to solve out. So
Yeah, we saw
dog
one
has
already
been
when you press the cube and floor change instead of the cube.
the,
It's a major bug. That was crazy.
that was a very very small bug, but yeah, cool, and it was expected.
Sure.
Yeah.
Next
Well,
time we'll do unit test.
that's
Yeah. Good,
that's
good. Moral of the story.
yep. Uh, yeah. But anyway, yeah. Unfortunately, still a couple bugs to work out, and we're still setting up a few infrastructure things for the Hubs Foundation, and to make it easier for developers to get involved, to run stuff locally. There's been a few troubles with that. So, but as soon as we can, we want um, add-ons and um, behavior graphs merged in so that everyone can use it. So, maybe hopefully by next year, like beginning of next year. I mean, again, as soon as we can, but maybe.
Yeah. I didn't want to pressure you or anything, mate. Just, just wanted to show my
Yeah,
excitement. It's just really cool, So
it
it was
is.
more
It
of a
is.
rhetorical question of when we can expect it. But I'm just saying, mad props for that. Like that's amazing. If we can get that kind of functionality into experience like these, that's taking it to the next level for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, your hand expressions are giving us the real feeling of how well we are at.
Yep.
That's right. Can I give a thumbs up? No, it's not really letting me. Oh well. Next time.
Oh, darn, I thought you could do a thumbs up in
Next time I'll
Hubs.
drop a GLTF with a big thumbs up right into this room, okay? And you can.
Awesome.
Okay. Yep.
Or how's this?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yay!
that works. Yep.
Hmm.
Awesome. Cool.
So, like,
So
how many of you like work on the WebXR community hubs thing in this group? I think you.
Uh, yeah, me. Doug's been doing some good work on it. Rithik has been doing work on it.
so
Matt
mostly
Matt used to be part of the Hubs team, but he's onto something else now. But he still pops in.
Hmm,
I think that's all of us
nice.
in the group here.
And just out of interest, are you just like, this is just like a side gig for you guys or something, or is how does it work?
good question.
Uh, well, at the moment, no one is making any direct money off of it, but Rithik
Hmm.
does all kinds of things with Hubs professionally. So
Hmm.
he contributes back to the main project, and um, I'm not sure about Doug. I think you're doing
I'm calling
something
it
with.
professional development at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. I have made good money with hubs.
Nice.
Like, yeah, professionally, and like I also offer hosting. So which is like if you want to have your own instance, so that is what I'm working on. But uh it's in beta since last 2 months. So but I'm just trying to give it, like I'm not rolling out to stable yet because I wanna add some more features and wait for the behavior graphs, because eventually everyone is just asking behavior graphs on uh, for themselves. So
Yeah.
this is really needed.
Mm-hmm. We'll try and get that to you as quickly as possible, Rithik. Bugs. So many
Much
bugs.
appreciated.
Yep.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
for me, hubs was a very crazy thing since the time I knew about it because like I'm just learning. I'm just keeping on learning hubs. So many things. For me, hubs was very new when I joined it. Obviously, like when you join, everything is new. So
Mhm.
yeah, later as like the community was very strong and is very strong yet, and that is what kept hubs going even after Mozilla shut it down. So and we have lots more to go, and the way we are impacting like the projects and everything that people are building are very impactful for their field of interest for sure. But with hubs things are really easy because you also have a spoke editor for people who are with Blender. They get this so crazy thing with behavior graphs and uh, everything. Plus, Imaginer has a lots of to dos on his list, which we also know a little bit about. But there's like lots of must-haves that are yet to go with hubs. But most of the must-haves are already there. Like anyone with Blender, they can Blender and knowledge of GLB and GLTF, they can you know get these things very quickly set up.
Yeah, yeah. Hubs has proven to be pretty robust. We did do Halloween game in it. We've had meetings like this in it for many years, and it's been stable. Live events. In January, we pulled off a in-person parade with it. Well, I mean it's entirely virtual, but like had audience, had commentators, had floats coming down a pathway. Yeah, it's good. And
And
I can
go
I
ahead.
real quick? Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen, but if you go to the Hubs Foundation's website, hubsfoundation.org, and to the Getting Started page, you'll see that we have instructions there for how you can host your own instance. Um, and like anyone can host their own instance. There are a few. We're trying to get community instances. We're trying to get people to host community instances where several people would go in together on the price and then share an instance. But um, you can also do just host your own instance. And at the moment, it's not free. It's about $36 a month, I think. Um, but um, it also only takes a couple hours to set up, and so we've made the hosting of hubs and instances much easier, um, and with full step-by-step documentation to get you through it. Um, so that's
yeah,
pretty
and
cool. If you haven't seen it yet.
yeah, the steps are for very beginners, like people who have very uh like who have some experience and understanding of coding, but it's like for very beginners, very people who are just getting started with deployments and everything. And like the costing is also like very low, that you can just for $36 you can get your own instance exactly like this on your own subdomain hosted, and like you can have over like 30, 40, 50 concrete users all over your server. You can integrate Sketchfab for your scenes, the this tenor GIF. You can integrate tenor GIF, I think, yeah. And
No, no, we haven't fixed tenor yet be,
oh yeah, we
because
haven't
everyone
fixed it,
is
but yeah,
V2 and we're still on V1 of the API. Um,
uh,
The recent Sketchfab
but
news might also be a issue, wouldn't it?
yep, we're gonna have to update for that. It's
And
you know.
OpenBrush are just the OpenBrush guys say that Iscosa is they should be making that live in the next before the end of the year. They said I think,
Yeah, we're
which
excited
is
for that.
it was Polly's, and I think they have something like I don't know. I was just in a thing with them the other day, but I mean they have almost terabytes of whatever format that all the 3D files Poly had was, and I think they're going to try and make them into GLTF, GLB type of conversion by the time they go live.
Watson's, is it?
Yeah,
Watson's?
I don't know. But Andy Beck and Shoseki, they're the ones working on that, and they're working on integrating it directly in hubs. So we're very excited about that. To have that to have Google Poly back basically, but now open and under Icosa. So that's really fantastic.
Nice, nice. So, actually, getting back to the hands thing, why am I the only one with hands? Sorry for just interrupting the, the normal conversation.
We're all on personal
or changing the
computers.
topic.
You are
You're
currently
on
the only one in
computers?
VR.
Why though? Like this is this like against the principle?
It is a little
No,
erratic,
no.
yes.
We love people in VR. The reason I'm not in VR is because I do not have a headset. And
Okay.
also there are some bugs in VR and a few
Yeah, I
things.
noticed some already.
Yeah, we want to fix this, but we need developers with VR headsets to submit pull
Oh,
requests.
if only I knew a developer with a VR headset.
I'm
We
in
are gonna
VR, but
make
I'm
you
running stream camera.
Sorry, there were three people talking at the same time. Sorry, what
I
did
was
you
just
say?
saying I would be in VR, but I'm also running the stream camera right now, so.
Ah, okay, yeah. Who else has an excuse they want to share with me right now?
Yes, I'm moderating. I need to ban people.
Okay, you
on
three
Twitch,
safe. What's your
Discord,
excuse now? I'm kidding.
For me, I always have lots of URLs I want to paste in, and that's not so easy on the headset.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun. It works really well in VR, but it's also there are things that are hard when you are in VR. It's keeping an eye out on the URLs and sharing things, and it's part of the community experience, I guess.
Yeah,
You gotta bring a second monitor into VR that you can just do your 2D browsing on while you're in this room.
Yeah, well, I actually that's a nice thing, but I haven't my my other headset is not connected at the moment. So with a normal or not a standalone headset, like the I'm blanking. What's the thing called?
There's like an add-on that lets you see your computer screen while in VR. You mean?
No, you can just have a connected VR headset with lighthouses and running your desktop and your browser. You can run your VR, but then you can just see your desktop as well in VR.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
might
That's
work.
what I meant. Yeah.
But I don't have the lighthouses set up at the moment, so
Yep.
yeah, that
Okay.
makes things
Yeah.
really hard that way. But yeah, I could try that next time.
Huh. Okay. Well, we can shake virtual hands next time then.
Yes.
For sure.
That'd be good.
Oh. Yeah. Well, okay, I think I need to get going. Nice to talk to everyone.
I was gonna say we're coming up on the 2-hour mark anyway, so.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to end it.
See you
Thanks,
all
guys.
around.
It's a good one. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
that demo of the scene graph, guys.
Next end of the month again.
See you next month.
See ya.
Yeah.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye. Bye.